This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
Hello and welcome back to the latest edition of the Bullscast with me, George Holloway. It's 3 wins on the bounce and counting for Hereford after their 3-0 victory at Worksop last weekend. Keith Hall joins me to look back at all of the goals from the KC Sofa Stadium, plus the red card shown to Aleks Starcenko for firing a ball towards a group of Hereford supporters. We'll preview the highly anticipated clash with early pace setters Chester and discuss the impact of their new boss Phil Parkinson, before we finish with the Bank Holiday Monday trip to Southport. That's all to come in this episode of the Bullscast. Keith, great to see you. A 3-0 win at Worksop for Hereford on Saturday, their 3rd victory in a row. How good does that sound?
Yeah, really good, isn't it? When's the last time Hereford got 3 victories on the spin and 3 clean sheets as well? I mean, that's the outstanding sort of stat from it. But yeah, really good performance considering the opposition, the way that they try and play intensively. I thought the tactics were really good. You've got Corley Cox down the right channel, and of course we've got the man from County, Owensy, battling away down the left. So Hereford mixed it up quite a bit. They did try and play through midfield for large parts, but on that surface sometimes you've got to go from back to front very quickly, and I thought that really did upset Worksop in the game.
Well, the last time Hereford won 3 in a row was February 2025 when they beat Kings Lynn, Warrington and Alfreton in the space of 7 days. It was Worksop though, Keith, who almost took the lead inside 2 minutes, only for a stunning Theo Richardson save to deny them.
Brilliant save low to his right hand side to tip it round. And I thought, this has sent Hereford on the way, really. They thought they'd scored, and he just dived full length, tip it round, firm palm to get it round the post. And from there on, I didn't think he had too much to do. But as ever, you've got to be alert as a goalkeeper, and he most certainly was.
In your interview with him last week, he said one mistake doesn't define a keeper. It's all about having the mentality to bounce back. Well, he certainly embodied that since Buxton.
Yeah, as you say, you got to forget. If you make an error, I know it's tough on you, and you're going over it in your mind every 10 or 20 seconds, you're thinking about it, but you've just got to brush it off. And I think Theo does that time again. Hopefully he doesn't make too many errors. I'm sure he'll be looking to keep as many clean sheets as he can, but I still think he's a really good goalkeeper. We're lucky to have him. And he's acrobatic, very, very quick to get off his line as well when he needs to. But all in all, he's a great shot stopper.
Hereford grew in confidence, and Harrison Owensy, on his first start for the Bulls, put them in front after 34 minutes. How impressive was the speed with which Hereford attacked down that right-hand side, Keith?
Yeah, really good. And I think it was Luke Spokes that was the architect of it. And he says, I think in a post-match interview, that he was almost kicked into the crowd by an attempted defender trying to block him, but he did get past him. And then a really accurate cross right into the path of Harrison Owensy, and he hit it into the roof of the net with pretty much quite a bit of power, I thought, and went on his way arcing to his left to celebrate in front of the Hereford supporters, who were really, really pleased with the way Hereford had conjured up that goal.
What do you think's behind Owensy's fast start? What is he and the team doing well that means he's getting on the score sheet regularly?
Well, I think he's getting clear instructions. He knows exactly what is being asked of him. Buy into it. A lot of players are talking about that. This is what we want you to do. It comes from Harry Pell and Aaron Downs. This is what we want you to do. If you do it, then hopefully, results will follow. Your performances, we know, can be good. Channel it and really put 100% into your efforts. Work pays you back, all that sort of mantra. And as far as he's concerned, he's loving it. You can see with a smile on his face throughout the game. He got an absolutely poleaxed in one of the games, but he still got up, big smile on his face, loves to be playing regularly first team football. I think it's good for him and it'd be good for Notts County. Obviously, we don't want to see anything happen early doors. He's supposed to be here till January. And if that's the case, if he can carry on with this sort of momentum, what a signing he could be.
Yeah, Luke Spokes was talking after the game, wasn't he, about how Aaron Downs and Harry Power have given them good plans going into matches this season. OK, a red card was shown to Worksop's Aleks Starcenko on 82 minutes in what had been an even second half. It made a nice change, Keith, that it wasn't for a Bulls player, but the word thoughtless comes to mind when viewing it.
Absolutely lost the plot. I know Hereford fans were not giving the ball back when it was disappearing in for corners and throw-ins on that touchline, but even so, as a professional footballer or a semi-professional footballer, yes, you can get riled from time to time, but that was totally out of order, and he really did half volley it in at some pace straight into the Hereford crowd. I think he was trying to aim at one particular supporter who was giving him a bit of stick throughout the game, but whatever. You don't do that. It's like almost like Eric Cantona with his kung fu kick into the crowd. It's totally out of order, straight red card. I couldn't understand the antics of the Worksop players after that, because it was, complete meltdown from Starcenko, and he had to go.
It was fortunate that Bulls fans in that corner had their eyes on the pitch, because if they didn't, and they didn't have time to duck, it could have been a very different story.
Well, I could easily have seen a broken nose or glasses flying everywhere, or a mobile phone and that sort of thing. And as I say, you got the just desserts in the end. You got the red card. The referee did do that, but again, a little bit. Takes too long as far as I'm concerned, and you get these melees, you get these rucks with players going here, there and everywhere. I think Skinner went down at one stage. He thinks he's got a hand or a fist or an elbow or something in his face during that. So there were all sorts going on. Maybe Worksop accepted that it was a red card and were trying to level it up. Who knows? But in the end, it was just one red card, and it actually probably inspired Hereford, not Worksop.
Yeah, it was effectively game over when Spokes slotted home his first Bulls goal on 87 minutes. How impressive was Jordan Williamson's slide rule pass, though, Keith?
Yeah, really good when he got there. He was a little bit fortunate with that dribble from virtually the halfway line, but he got that desire to get through these attempted challenges. And when he looked up, he just slid the ball into the path of Luke Spokes, who scored coolly, calmly, made it 2-0. Really enjoyed the moment.
Williamson hasn't started since the opening game. How important is it, particularly when stepping up from a lower level, that he continues to chip in and contribute when possible?
Yeah, really good for him, isn't it? Our, local lad, as it were, one of our own. We want to see him do well. You get the backing from the crowd, I'm sure. He'll give everything he's got, I think, in the minutes that he gets. And if he does get an opportunity in the box, as we saw at Bromsgrove in that pre-season friendly, he most certainly knows where the net is. And it's another asset that Hereford have got.
Danny Waldron sealed the win in added time with Hereford's third. He had an eternity to think about how he was going to finish, Keith.
I thought he did really well, actually. Got the goalkeeper coming at him. He didn't really know where he could possibly narrow the angle, because it was more or less head on to goal. And there was enough space there for Danny Waldron to sort of calmly slot the ball in past the goalkeeper, Max Sternley, into the back of the net. So, Hereford at that stage rampant at 3-0. As Aaron Downs said at the end, it probably wasn't really a 3-0 scoreline. That did flatter Hereford a little bit. I thought they did have the better of the opportunities throughout the game. So it could easily have scored 3, I suppose. But, it just grew in Hereford's confidence the longer the game went. More and more you thought Hereford had chances.
And all three finishes, particularly the latter two, Keith, were very clinical. I can imagine, talking completely as a layperson here, that when you have that much time that Danny Waldron did for the third goal, you can get inside your head a little bit.
It does. We've seen it numerous strikers down the years. They get into the position and really they're better off not having much time to consider it, and they're more likely to score. They're more likely to miss, as you say, when you've got to think about it. So some strikers take it quite naturally, and those are the players that you want in those positions. And it's great that Danny Waldron's got off the mark. He showed such determination to get past Jordan Hume in for the second goal against Radcliffe. And so, if he can get a run of games together, is another player that should excite the crowd.
Did you like Onesie and Cox starting up front together?
I did. Perfect on that pitch, I thought. As I was talking about earlier, sometimes you mix it up, you get the ball from back to front very quickly, try and turn the opposition because they've got the pace, they've got the power, and such is their determination, they'll break through. And it was noticeable that they really struggled both with Cox on the right and Onesie on the left when Hereford released the ball either diagonally or down the flanks. And I've seen that in training, something that Hereford do work on. They'll work it through midfield when they can, but if not, and they can turn the opposition, it's a good tactic to have.
And 3 clean sheets in a row. Keith, you mentioned it at the top of the show. It's the first time they kept 3 clean sheets consecutively since December 2024. But how pleased are you that they're marrying it up with performances at the top end of the pitch as well? They seem to be putting in all-round performances.
Well, that's the big transformation. I mean, here we are. What are we? 4 games in. I know it's very, very, very early, but Hereford are equal top goal scorers in the division. Who'd have thought that? Hereford with 8 and Southport with 8. Hereford play Southport on the Bank Holiday Monday, of course, but they're shipping goals as much as they're scoring them. 8-7. Hereford's goal difference is 8-2. So we've got players up that end of the pitch that will really put a shift in. They'll get the backing from the crowd, and sometimes it can work when you're together in that respect. The supporters rally round and get behind the players, and players might give an extra couple of %, and that's what makes all the difference.
Onslaught of stats for you listening in at home, but they're all positive, so we might as well reel them off. It's Hereford's best start to a season since the 2017-2018 campaign, when they took 10 points from their first 4 games in the Southern League Premier, and long may it continue. So let's take a look at what else happened in the National League North on game week 4. It finished Telford 1, Hednesford 1, Buxton 1, Hebburn 2, Chester 1, Spalding United 0, and Chorley 2, Scarborough 1. Harborough beat Darlington by 4 goals to 2. It finished Kings Lynn 1, Marine 4, Macclesfield 2, Brackley Town 1, and Radcliffe 2, Morecambe 1. South Shields drew 1-1 at home to Merthyr. Southport earned a 4-1 victory at home to Bedford Town, while Oxford City beat Spennymoor by 4 goals to 1. On to the league table, and that all means Chester stay top with 12 points from 12, while Hereford find themselves in 6th on 9 points. Down at the other end of the table, Morecambe are rock bottom with 1 point from 4 games. Hednesford are in 23rd on 2, Telford are just above them, while Radcliffe occupy 21st. Matchday 5 in the National League North runs across 2 days this bank holiday weekend. Starting on Friday night, Hednesford host Harborough, Morecambe play Telford, while Buxton travel to Oxford City. Then it's on to Saturday as Bedford welcome Spennymoor, South Shields travel to Brackley, Darlington host Macclesfield, while Hebburn host Kings Lynn. Marine host Radcliffe, Merthyr face Chorley, Scarborough welcome Southport, while Spalding United play Worksop. So, fresh off 3 straight wins, Hereford returned to Edgar Street on Saturday to face a Chester side who topped the table with the league's last remaining 100% record. Even at this early stage, Keith, it's a mouth-watering clash, isn't it?
They really are against Chester. They can be very gritty, sort of tough performances to go into, both sides. Similar vein in many respects. And sometimes they cancel each other out. Let's hope we have a little bit better a game than that. There have been draws on a few occasions. Obviously, Hereford beat Chester 5-2 last year, but that was at Six Ways, of all places. But that was a really good performance from Hereford. Downs' third game in charge, and they were rampant in the end to beat Chester. I think under Phil Parkinson, that would be a totally different kettle of fish, formerly with Altrincham. Got them playing some very good football during his 8-year tenure with Altrincham. I remember Altrincham absolutely hammering Hereford up at Altrincham a couple of occasions. So he's a good manager, a good track record at this level. So I'm sure he's going to come to Hereford full of confidence. 100% record and winning all 4 games. They finished 7th last season. They did lose in the playoffs to Macclesfield, which was really great on their supporters. They were really upset by that one. Bit of a local rivalry certainly up there for that one. But, all in all, a really mouth-watering prospect. Can Hereford stop Chester in their tracks, having got a 100% record so far?
Yes, the Callum McIntyre era is well and truly over. As you say, Keith, Phil Parkinson in charge now. Fantastic club, Chester, Keith, but could you say that it was a little bit of a coup to get Phil Parkinson, a National League manager, didn't stay in the 5th tier?
I rather suspect they've been after him for quite a long time. Callum McIntyre eventually went in February after he was given the sort of vote of confidence. We'll get through until the end of the campaign sort of thing. So they had to bring Connell Rawlinson in as caretaker interim manager. And I rather suspect, although Parkinson was a coach up at Fleetwood for a very short space of time, I think he'd been identified a long time ago, and it might have been money more than anything else. He just had to wait a little while until May, until they could justify making that change in the close season. But I think he should be a good fit for Chester with all his local knowledge and getting players in and around that area. So it's proving so far with, as I say, 4 wins in 4. So Hereford, though, best home record in the National League North. From a Chester perspective, they're not going to want to come to Edgar Street either. So rip-roaring game in prospect.
Where will the threats from Chester come from, Keith?
Well, Connor Woods is always a thorn in the Hereford side. I've seen him score a few against Hereford. Tom Pears as well. He's been there for a few seasons now. But they have brought a few players in. Dom McHale, you might remember. He played 3 games for Hereford. In fact, he's at Hednesford recently. 30 years of age now. Maybe he won't get involved. I thought I'd mention him. Luke Hewitson, the goalkeeper as well. He's come in from Fleetwood. He's only just 21 years of age. And another player I picked up I thought was maybe a prospect for the Bulls, George Burrows, who came in from Oxford City. I thought he played well in the games against Hereford for Oxford last season. So there's plenty of players there that have come in. A couple in from Morecambe, one of which was Mackhill, not sure how you pronounce it. Campbell, attacking midfielder from Morecambe as well. So, there are players there that Parkinson has identified over a space of time, including Jacob Hazel, big player up front for Boston. You might some supporters might remember. So, yeah, there are threats there. And Hereford will have to be on the top of their game, I think. It's one of those that you want, a minimum sort of 7 out of 10 from every player, really.
Yeah, Michael Campbell is the Seals' top scorer this season with 3 goals, just 20 years of age. So certainly one to keep an eye on for Hereford. Then it's up to Southport for the Bulls on Bank Holiday Monday. The Sandgrounders picked up their first win of the season at home to Bedford last Saturday. We'll all be hoping, Keith, it's a bit more fruitful than Hereford's last trip up to Hague Avenue.
Oh, that was an astonishing rate. The absolute low point of last season. Caddis had left on the week before and Rooney took over for just one match only. Hereford absolutely thrashed 5-1. Chris Z's, Jordan Slew got 2, Malachi McKenzie as well, 5-1. I know George Monday scored a penalty in the 85th minute. It was a token consolation, but it was an awful display. I can just see Rooney now leant up against the dugout for most of the second half. He didn't want to be here. I didn't feel he was leaning up as if to say, well, there's not much I can do about it. I'll do the job this afternoon, but after that, you're on your own, Hereford. But total rout, it was horrible to watch.
Yeah, up until that 5-1 defeat in February, Hereford had built a fairly decent record at Hague Avenue, but it all disappeared that afternoon. Who will the danger men be for Southport this time around, Keith?
Well, I'll be interested to see if Danny Lloyd McGoldrick can play. I'm going to have to look at whether his suspension's going to kick in, because he scored quite a number of times against Hereford. Certainly when Southport did the double over Hereford last season, he scored the first goal for Southport in a 2-1 win. So he'd be one to look out for. And it's up to Hereford to do their homework, which I'm sure Aaron Downs will do. His attention to detail is inspiring, actually, because you think of things and then all of a sudden Downs is ahead of you. Such a superb coaching brain, and he's got the mouthpiece, I suppose, in Harry Pell, who really is the motivator from the sidelines. So they're combining really well, and I'm thinking of a very positive result up against Southport. In many ways, I'm actually more likely to expect a win at Hague Avenue than at Edgar Street this particular weekend. They've not lost at home yet, Southport. They drew with Buxton, their first home game of the season, and then tubbed Bedford Town 4-1. They lost to Hebburn and 3-1 on the opening day of the season, and then a 2-2 draw at Hensford. So that's the season so far for Southport.
So 2 tricky fixtures, I guess, in their own unique ways, Keith.
Yeah, it's usually windy up at Southport. We'll have to see if that continues. But it's a big pitch. And if Hereford can we were talking about earlier about switching things up, mixing it up. I think up at Southport they'll be able to play a lot more football on the deck, because it is a very, very wide pitch. And it could be a lot working down those channels for Hereford to get the ball in the box from wide areas. It might be windy in that respect, and the ball can be affected by that as it blows across. But overall, I'm expecting a decent game. A little bit more open than perhaps we've seen against Southport in seasons past, other than that absolute devastating result last year. Sometimes there can be tight affairs up at Southport, but I would mention, not sure if you were aware of this, but Hereford first met Southport in the Bulls' first season in the Football League in Division 4 back in 1972, and I've got a stat for you, a fact for you at home. Would you believe that was David Icke's debut in goal for Hereford in that season? He went on to make 37 appearances. Hereford did lose 2-0 up at Hague Avenue back in September 1972. They drew the return at Edgar Street 2 apiece. But in the end, both clubs were promoted, Southport as champions and Hereford United as runners-up in their inaugural Football League season. And get this, George, the average home attendance at Edgar Street in 1972-73 season, average 8,915. And when they played league leaders Southport on the Boxing Day, there were nearly 10,500 inside Edgar Street. Get your head round all of that, George. Happy days.
We'd take that now, wouldn't we, Keith? I'll tell you what, that would probably put you in mid-table of League One for attendance records this season. 8,000 certainly is not half bad. I wonder what happened to David Icke. I certainly haven't heard much from him since.
Oh, I'm sure you have. We won't go into that. But I thought he was a very acrobatic goalkeeper. He couldn't really kick very long because of his arthritis. He used to take goal kicks, not quite reaching the halfway line for most of them. But he did a fantastic job. I don't think he was ever on the losing side at Edgar Street. That's another fact that everybody would probably already know at home. But we'll gloss over some of the more recent announcements from him. I remember him on Breakfast Time as well on TV, and I think he used to do the snooker at one stage on BBC television. But, an all-rounder in that respect. But, memories of David Icke.
So 2 games in the space of 3 days. Keith, how do you think Aaron Downs will utilise his squad? Will it be a little bit of horses for courses?
Yeah, I think it will. That's what he's seemingly doing already. And that may actually increase in the weeks to come. I had a quick chat to Joe Willis as he was warming up at Worksop, not obviously able to play just yet, but he was targeting a 2-week return, which would mean spending more at home in Edgar Street on Saturday the 5th of September. And I don't think Finn Holmes will be behind him too long. Cam Candoda, first game of the 3-match ban, of course. So there will be changes. I think Lewis Hudson's probably the one that's going to be out for the longest period of time. But with the introduction of those players into the Hereford squad as well, could be a bit of rotation, could be game-by-game planning, assets and weaknesses of the opposition, and I'm sure Aaron Downs will isolate them.
So, final words, Keith. Really exciting weekend coming up.
Yeah, they'll want to test themselves against the top of the table team in the form of Chester. So it's all there for everybody to see. Come along. I'm sure there'll be a very good attendance. I think Chester are virtually at full allocation selling their tickets. So it should be a cracking atmosphere inside Edgar Street. And then it's a bank holiday trip up to Southport. So I'm sure there'll be a good travelling support up at Hague Avenue for that one as well. And in the weeks to come, we've got Harborough away on a Tuesday and then South Shields at home. So it could be a very exciting month, September. FA Cup as well. Must mention that.
Brilliant stuff, Keith. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you at Edgar Street on Saturday.
You will indeed.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bullscast. Don't forget, we're now available on YouTube and Amazon Music, so there's more ways to follow us than ever before. Until the next time, it's bye for now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.